Yeah, we're back with a little emergency Thursday night stream because, well, it's not a stream, it's a video because we do the stream on Friday night, you mother father. You better be there, 7 o'clock, Central Standard Time Zone. That's the Lord's time zone, you mother father. I hope you're new guy, and I hope you're just finding me because if you don't know, I'm kind of known as the golf guy, but I kind of want to also be the college football guy because I love college football, if you can't tell by the OU hat on. So you need to come check out the live stream Friday night. I will be going over all of the best DFS plays for this big Saturday slate. It's got 14 teams in it. So come check that out. I will also be covering sports betting. So if you're like, I don't play DFS, well, we cover sports betting too, you mother father. And let the record show, the big guy's 1 for 1 this year. He's 1 for 1. He told you there's no way Nebraska's covering 13 against Northwestern. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Nebraska's a bunch of losers. Whatever. They're easy wins. Okay, so what are we doing tonight? Well, there's a huge Thursday night slate tomorrow, and DraftKings has to be dumb whores and go put every FCS team ever on it. So it's an 11-game slate. So I've been running around like a crazy man today and trying to put the slate together so I can make a video because college football DFS is very intimidating when you got all these teams with some of these teams, let's be honest, you probably haven't even heard of them. Like if I told you right now, Cal Poly, what's their school nickname? What is it? You don't fucking know. You don't know. Don't worry. Nobody knows that shit. They're Cal Poly. I assume they're probably like, what's their team nickname? The Acute Angles or some shit like that. Whatever. All right. Also, don't forget Saturday, I do a live Saturday sweat show where we will be watching a big college football game. I will be commentating it. I will be checking DFS. We will be tracking bets. We'll be bullshitting. We'll be drinking a lot of ranch water because that's what we do here. So come check that out. We're growing the channel. I don't give a fuck if 5 people watch. I'm going to do it every Saturday because I enjoy watching college football. And if I only got 5 people, those will be my 5 friends, you motherfather. Come check it out. I do live drawings too. Oh, yeah, there'll be a huge drawing Friday night where you get to make a lineup with me. And I'll split it with you 50-50. And first place Saturday is like what? $50,000? I think you'd like $25,000 in your account for free. All you got to do to get in that is go like and retweet over on Twitter. That's basically all you got to do. Retweet my shit. Hey, go give this video a like and a subscribe. And that's it. Let's get going. New guy. I'm the Degenerate75. You don't see that name below? Go give me a follow on Twitter. Let's start by talking about the games. I always like to start with sports betting. Kind of gets me in it. If you're wondering why I only have 6 games up on the screen, because no one's betting FCS schools, man. I'm sorry, brother. Okay, no one's betting those games. It's hard to even find action on those, and if you do, like, they'll limit how much you can bet and stuff. So, fuck it. We'll do it live. We're gonna talk about the 6 games and the action that I want to play on them tomorrow. I said this last week. I only do quarter and 1/2 size unit bets on the first week because so much of the edge in college football betting is taking teams in bad spots. And at the start of a season, there's not a lot of bad spots, right? There's, other than teams with too high of expectations and stuff like that, which was the number one reason I bet against Nebraska last week. Like, we're going to forget they were 3-9 last year. Get the fuck out of here. So other than that, there's just not a lot of huge edge. So will I be betting these games? Yes. I'll probably bet all of them tomorrow because the bankroll's already up nice and fat from the Nebraska-Northwestern game. But what I will tell you is I won't be betting my normal huge bets that I'll be making later in the year when I see real edges on games. So keep that in mind. Just bet to kind of have a little skin in the game, so to speak. So let's talk about these games real quick. I don't look at anybody else's picks because I really don't give a fuck what anybody else thinks. I make my picks. I had a great year last year, 57.9%. 57.8%. Look at me already trying to round up. Do I do that every year? No. I'd be fucking retired. I'm just kidding. I'm basically retired. I'm making YouTube content for fun now. By the way, go check out my first video, The 5 Reasons You Suck at DFS. Just made my very first edited video today. Hope you like it, you motherfather. All right, the first game is Central Michigan versus Oklahoma State. You need to know this. I'm wearing an OU hat right now, but I'm OSU alumni. I have a lot of degrees from that school, and I know Oklahoma State very well. And because of that, I actually am liking Central Michigan here. I love that this line went above 21. You're giving me over 3 touchdowns. Central Michigan is a serviceable MAC school. They're not just, bottom of the barrel. And I know Oklahoma State's awesome, and they had their big, BCS bowl win last year. What do they call it now? The New Year's Six. I'm old. I will always call it a BCS bowl, you motherfather. And I was there. I watched Oklahoma State beat Notre Dame. I was there. I was, let's go. I went for my friends. I don't give a shit. And so I could see why people are seeing this line. They're thinking, damn, 3 touchdowns. Oklahoma State's going to kill them. Oklahoma State has a quarterback that has turnover problems. They have a defense where they lost their defensive coordinator, Jim Knowles, to Ohio State, which was their real thing. That's what really separated Oklahoma State last year, is they had a legit defense. They lost a lot of talent. I hope you've been watching Hard Knocks, right? Malcolm Rodriguez on Hard Knocks, the linebacker, he's from Oklahoma State, and he was a fucking animal. Oklahoma State lost some talent, and they're not as big and nasty on both sides of the ball as they once had been. 3 touchdowns. Oklahoma State is notorious for anytime there's expectations for their team being slow out of the gates. So give me Central Michigan all day. That's where I'm at. Okay. Once again, would I bet my mortgage on it? No, but I will be placing a bet on Central Michigan. You don't have to follow my bets. I don't give a shit who you bet. Matter of fact, don't follow my DFS picks either, because if you at me, I'll just block your ass. Okay, Ball State, Tennessee. This is another one of those ones kind of like with Nebraska last week. People are like hyping up Tennessee to be the greatest thing since sliced bread. And I just think that like when teams come out with those expectations, it can put a lot on them. And the fact that they got to get to 35.5, I mean, that's pretty steep. I mean, if Ball State just gets to 17 points, which I think is pretty reasonable, is Tennessee going to keep the pedal to the metal? I don't know. I don't love this game. I will say, if I had to take something here, I would actually consider taking the under. Maybe Tennessee isn't an all-world offense, or maybe they call off the dogs early. And 66.5 points, even with a good offense involved in the game, that's a lot of points to put up. Not a game that I'm going to be betting very heavy. I don't feel as strong about that one. The West Virginia Pitt game, this game was at 7.5, and if you can get it at 7.5, I would strongly encourage you to get West Virginia. These games like this, the backyard brawl, they're notorious for tough, hard-fought games, and to give more than a touchdown in a tough, hard-fought game. And West Virginia, they're a very reasonably strong team, right? They're not like world beaters, but they're also not like 1-11 Kansas every year. They're a good go to a bowl game every year type team. I like West Virginia to barely lose to Pitt in a tough game. And if I'm getting 7.5 and it's a one-possession game, well, then I'm going to win, aren't I? I guess there's 2-point conversions, but let's not fucking focus on that. So I'd take West Virginia, but try to get that 7.5. I've seen it bouncing back and forth between 7 and 7.5. Louisiana Tech and Missouri. I am all about I actually think that this is one of those games that could push the over. I think Missouri is not going to blow out La Tech. Part of me wants to just take the 20.5. But I think that this game could actually end up scoring a lot. I think it would not surprise me if La Tech puts up 24, 28 points. And if they do that in Missouri, they're pushing Missouri and Missouri has to keep scoring. You could actually get a pretty high total there. If I had to bet, I would probably, I'd probably just take the 21 points from Missouri. They do seem to have some upgraded talent, but once again, not a game I love. A game I like much more is the Penn State versus Purdue. Penn State, after a really disappointing season last year, everybody, I'm kind of surprised. And Purdue had a big breakout season last year. And, I think everybody's just assuming that water will find its level this year and Penn State will get back. They've got better players according to recruiting rankings. But there's something about Purdue coming off of a good season with a lot of those players and being a dog at home. Furthermore, it's not like Penn State just went and got some guy back from injury or got some, I know they got the 5-star running back recruit, but are they just an auto lock? My initial instinct was take Penn State, but the more I've thought about it, I kind of like Purdue. That's where I'm at. And then lastly, New Mexico State versus Minnesota. I think Minnesota will absolutely suffocate them. You see that team total of 8 there with New Mexico State. I really think that's all they'll score. I think they'll score 7 points or less. Minnesota will suffocate them. And the good news about Minnesota, you might be nervous about that 36.5, but they're just going to keep running the ball. The second and third string running back are still going to run the ball right down New Mexico State's throat. And because of that, I think that they could still get it. I don't like 36.5. I wish it were like 33, 34, but still feeling pretty good that the backup guys will score, some garbage touchdowns even when they're not trying to, right? The coach gets mad at them because they keep busting 40-yard touchdown runs and it looks like it's running them up. So that's who I would take there. Minnesota. I think New Mexico State is horrific, and I think Minnesota will just absolutely dominate both sides of the line of scrimmage. So there you go. That's the 6 games I'm betting tomorrow. You don't have to follow me. Have your own opinion, you motherfather. Okay? Let's get over to DFS, right? Because I'm the DFS guy. For all of you that don't know, I've basically been playing DFS for a living for the last 5 years, and I focus almost exclusively on golf and football. I have been noticing college football. I really didn't get into it serious until the last year or so. And what I've noticed is the cash game the cash game last week was ridiculous, right? Because every single chalk pick was just the nuts last week. I think there's enough diversity on this slate that won't be the case. So you can see I've color coded here. Right over here, you can see that the dark green right there is cash and the orange is GPP. And then I went and I added upside. Well, I added upside down here. I forgot to add it up here, right? So I guess I could go right here and I can go boom and add this ugly thing. So when you see that color, I'm going to do it right here on the air. What great YouTube this is. High upside. And so now you know what it's color coded, right? Oh, we better go bold it so my list looks good. Boom. And so that's what that means. There is a lot more diversity on here. First of all, here's the first lesson to remember. Don't get carried away playing FCS schools. Do you know, hey, new guy, do you know what FCS even stands for? You don't, do you? FCS stands for Football Championship Series. That's the slapdick schools that you can't name, right? I mean, maybe to you, Central Michigan's a slapdick school, but they're not. Central Michigan, they're in the MAC, right? They're a real FBS school, FBS Football Bowl Series, because they play bowl games at the end of the year, not a championship. But schools, South Carolina State, VMI, the Virginia Military Institute. Okay, if a war breaks out, Wake Forest is in trouble. But I think in a football game, they're going to be just fine. Eastern Illinois, which I'm pretty sure is where Tony Romo went. New Mexico State, believe it or not, actually FBS. Let's see, NAU, Northern Arizona, definitely FCS. CPS, that is Cal Poly, definitely FCS. And so when you see these schools, literally, I mean, you look at me, new guy. Look at me. I'm trying to help you be a successful DFS player. You should probably go watch my top 5 reasons you suck at DFS video. Don't worry, I'm putting out another one next week called 5 Pro Tips. They're hard to record. Here's what you need to know. You don't play any of those guys for those FCS schools unless it is part of a game stack where you want to bring it back, right? So what do I mean by that? Say you love Fresno and you really want to play a Fresno stack. You want to play Hainer, Mims, and Cropper and Kelly, right? You want to go real big on Fresno. They do have the highest team total, right? So that's not the most ridiculous idea to do. And you say, well, I want to bring it back with one Cal Poly guy. Well, first of all, there's not very many good options over there when they have an 11-point implied total, right? Furthermore, slapdick schools, it's hard to get reliable information on who their dudes are going to be. And so you can bring it back with Coleman. But that's it. You just bring it back with that one guy. Okay, a great example last week, it was Western Kentucky. Who were they playing? Whatever school they were playing, and McCray was the one bring-back guy, right? So you went and you played them, and you hope McCray gets some action coming back. That's the only time you play guys from FCS schools. There you go. Rule number 2. You almost should always play a quarterback in your super flex, right? Especially on this slate, there are some really great quarterback options, right? As you can see, all cash means in GPP, the only difference is cash just means those guys have a very high floor, okay? Technically, a cash guy can be played in a GPP, right? Because a lot of them also have really high ceilings. But what we're looking for in cash is just that really high floor. Like worst case scenario, they're going to get me 18 points, right? And that's what you got to think about. A guy like Hooker, maybe he's limited in how much upside he has because of the blowout potential, right? But he is definitely going to get his 25 points, right? He'll probably get 2 rushing touchdowns or some shit. No, he'll probably get 1 rushing touchdown, 2 passing touchdowns, 60 yards rushing, and like 185 passing. And he'll get there and he'll get you some nice safe points, and they'll pull him out early in the 4th. So he may lose some of that upside because he's not going to get to play the whole game, but he has such a safe floor that makes him a viable candidate in cash. But you could also put him in a GPP, especially if you stack him with the right receiver. Like maybe you think Brew McCoy, the famous 5-star that fucking sucks. If you think maybe he has a breakout, that could be a sneaky little stack. So that's rule number 2. Play a quarterback in your super flex. Rule number 3, and this is a weird one. Cash is actually pretty freaking sharp in college football. I think that there are 2 or 3 sites out there that are basically giving away lineups because I'm literally seeing dozens to hundreds of people playing the exact same lineup, and they're the right lineups. They're sharp plays. They're almost all the guys I told people to play on here. So I will tell you this: it's almost easier to win at GPPs than it is in cash at college football, because to win at a GPP, you have got to get some pretty icky stacks that people wouldn't normally think of, right? So what's the best thing to do is go find a game that you like, right? Like for instance, I'll just keep picking on this Tennessee game. You really like Hooker, and you know everybody's going to stack Hooker and Tillman, so maybe you go stack Hooker and Hyatt and maybe McCoy or something like that, right? And then you bring it back with whatever one of these slapdick Ball State guys are going to go off, right? The key to this is you want to find especially these teams with big team totals. A big team total is basically usually anything over 42 points, right? So Tennessee, UCF, Missouri, Wake Forest, Minnesota, and Fresno. What you want to find is you want to find games where they're going to get pushed. Which of those teams that has a high implied total are most likely to get pushed? For me, I think that Michigan State could push Oklahoma State. But is Oklahoma State really going to get over 41 points? I don't know. One that I really think could get pushed would be this La Tech. La Tech is a legit FBS program, and they have players, and it's not like Missouri's exactly world beaters. It would not surprise me if La Tech has some guys that could push Missouri. If they're pushing Missouri, that's good, because Missouri is playing La Tech, who, they're probably going to move the ball on, but they're also going to keep playing all the way to the end. So we want, like if I'm looking for a game stack, I'm looking more at like this La Tech Missouri, because there's legitimate bringback options here, because I think La Tech has the ability to push Missouri. Then you run into games like Pittsburgh and West Virginia and Penn State and Purdue. All right. What makes these games unique? Well, first of all, they're both very competitive games from Power 5 schools, right? And the good news about those games is that you're going to probably have competitive games to the end of the fourth quarter, so you'll get a full 4 quarters of play and of guys trying to get points, right? That's what we want. That's perfect. We don't want our guys coming out early in the third quarter. But the bad news about these games are both of these games have relatively low totals. You can see, what do we got? 51.5 up there, and we've got 53.5 down there. I mean, hell, we got some teams on this slate that might outscore that by themselves. So you have to balance that out. Do I really want to attack a game that has a relatively low total? And I will tell you, this Pitt-West Virginia game, I just don't love it. It's just not a game that I'm really going after, right? I do think Wayne, the wide receiver from Pitt, has a pretty safe floor at 5,100. And I think a couple of the Penn State receivers have pretty good floors just because they're going to be high target guys with relatively moderate salaries. But overall, to stack those games, I don't know if I love them. Okay? These are things you have to think about. Other teams that might get pushed, I just don't think there are many. I don't think Cal Poly can push Fresno. Northern Arizona can't push Arizona State. Eastern Michigan can't push NIU. New Mexico State can't push Minnesota. VMI cannot push Wake Forest. South Carolina State cannot push UCF. So really, there's not many games that are kind of in that Goldilocks zone of a great offense playing against somebody that could push them and keep their starters into the fourth quarter. And that sucks, because if that's what you have, that's what you want. That's the Goldilocks zone, right? All of our teams with the big team totals are huge favorites also, so blowout potential is very likely. And what we want is we want teams with huge totals, but also that are going to be pushed and have to keep their starters in because the game is staying within, 2 or 3 touchdowns late into the fourth. All right, I'm going to go over these. You can see I don't have ownership on here. Normally I'd have ownership on here, but I haven't had time to do the ownership because this Thursday slate is fucking huge and crazy, and I wanted to get this content out. I will put this up over on my Discord for all the people that do that. If you're interested in my Discord, I do football and golf content over there. It's all connected through my Patreon right here. You can just do football, you can just do golf, or you can do both. There's like 250 people over there. It's a pretty badass community. People like it. Exclusive content. You get me, you get John Gold, JD. We both basically play at the highest level. We know this shit. We'll help you. We'll help you with ownership. That's what we do over there. Okay, breaking down this slate, I'm going to fly through this. I've got most of it color-coded so you can see here. The Tennessee game, the biggest concern over here is blowout potential. I do think that Tillman's going to be a huge target monster. I feel like they're going to make sure they get their big stars. Heupel's he's from OU, won the national title in 2000. He's going to make sure that his studs get their points before they get out of there. So if I feel like that gives a lot of their stars really safe floors tomorrow, right? I just worry how much is Ball State going to push them. If Ball State can put up 24, 28 points tomorrow, this could be the game right here. This could be the game, but that's going to require Ball State to score some points. And do we really want to trust Ball State to score points? I don't know. Here is Central Michigan. They have this running back Nichols, who is a effing workhorse. And if Central Michigan can establish the run and move the ball on Oklahoma State, they do have some decent receivers. I like Dixon at wide receiver too. And let's just say, Spencer Sanders throws his, pick 6 or fumbles and gives them a free touchdown or 2, like he's been known to do once or twice. Am I right, brothers? This game could really get some points scored, could really score some points, and Central Michigan could keep it close. I mean, hell, I told you to take the 21.5. You know how I feel about it. Oklahoma State loves their workhorse running backs. They had Waddle last year, who was awesome. And now they've got Richardson, who seems to be that role. 7,200 seems like a super safe floor for a guy that'll probably see, I would say, at minimum 22 touches. He'll even catch the ball a little bit. Probably has 1 to 2 touchdown floor in there built in as well. Their wide receivers, Presley's really good, but it's 7,000. I think there's just some other guys that, here's the problem. Sanders, their quarterback, is a great runner. He is not a great passer, so I don't really know if I want to take a guy at 7,000 that needs to be very efficient with a quarterback that's not very efficient, right? I've already told you, I don't like West Virginia's passing game. I really don't like West Virginia's offense. If I had to get in this, I would get in there with Mathis. Pittsburgh's offense is a little more intriguing. I think that they'll have more success moving the ball than West Virginia. I told you Wayne probably seems like the best price over there. Abanaconda, running back, is a solid play. South Carolina State, you're only playing one of these guys as a punt, and you're only doing it if you're doing a UCF stack. Plumlee is a quarterback that of all the guys, all the quarterbacks with high totals, he is the one that definitely is coming in the cheapest, right? 7,400 is very affordable, right? You can see the FanDuel price right next to him just to kind of show you the disparity in the pricing there. Yes, I know FanDuel, the average is higher, but still, that's a significant difference. Baker, a wide receiver, the dude from Alabama, huge upside. O'Keefe, very safe floor. He's going to get a lot of targets. Once again, the only thing you got to worry about here is efficiency, right? Is Plumlee and O'Keefe and Baker, I guess Baker not so much because his salary is so cheap. He basically just needs 1 catch and 1 touchdown and he's gold, right? Plumlee and O'Keefe, you got to worry about efficiency because they are going to blow the brakes off of South Carolina State. VMI, all these guys, at least the one thing I can say about them is they're cheap. The one thing you should never do if you're going to play a cheap guy from a shitty school is go pay more than $5,000. That's ridiculous. Wake Forest, they've got their big receiver, Perry, who's a monster. Green's pretty good. I don't know if I love Griff's at 8,800. I just like some of the other quarterback options to get there more. I think he's a good GPP play just because when you have a 51-point total, if he's super efficient and throws 6 touchdowns, well, then obviously you're going to need him, right? Ellison and Turner are both going to split the carries, and I want a bell cow if I'm paying over 6,800. So, I'm out. But I put him on here because you still got to consider him as GPP plays. Maybe one guy gets 4 touchdowns, and if he does, he's the nuts play. Louisiana Tech, I kind of have them as Central Michigan as maybe some sneaky teams that could, push the better team, and because of that, you have to be open to them. I think Downing and Smoke Harris, how do you not want a guy named Smoke Harris on your team? What are we doing here? You got to be open to that combo. That's a sneaky little stack right there. Very, very affordable. Could be a nasty run back if you think Cook to Burden. Luther Burden's the big 5-star recruit that Missouri stole from my Sooners. And then running back, you're going to, I don't know if I really want to trust a backfill of Missouri running backs, but I'm just saying this could be a very sneaky stack with, Cook and Burden, run it back with Downing Harris. I don't think many people are going to do that. And if that game is competitive and it does get crazy, that's how you win a GPP. Not saying do it because you want to know something, new guy? I don't give a fuck who you play. All right, Penn State, Purdue. I would say I'm not real big on – I like Clifford that he's 6,500, and I actually think that he does have pretty good upside. I think he's a pretty good GPP play. He's a starting quarterback that will probably get to see 4 quarters of competitive action. And he has Washington and Tinsley, 2 very good receivers. I'm open to that. I like that their running backs are affordable. I like, Singleton seems like he's going to be that future star, but is he going to be that in week 1? I highly doubt it. This Lewis guy, bare minimum on DK, is a sneaky play. I almost thought about putting him as cash. He just seems like he has a safe floor because he's going to get so many snaps for Purdue. And yes, I know they're a pass-heavy team, but when all he has to do is get 3 catches for 20 yards and then run the ball and maybe score 1 touchdown, and he's a smash play, And if he's on the field for 80% of their snaps, he'll just accidentally run into 12 points, right? He'll accidentally run into it. So that's something to consider. I don't love Purdue. Purdue's passing game, hit or miss, and the problem is they spread the ball around so much it's hard to know who they're going to get to. EIU, Eastern Illinois, take Romo. Oh, shit, he's not there anymore. Take Cooks. Only as a run back. Do not go play these guys. And even as a run back, I don't know if I'd play him because I don't really love the Northern Illinois stack. I'd rather just go take Brown, their running back, and just hope that he is efficient because he will be splitting some carries with Whaley, but I think they're going to run the ball down their throat. And with 2 good running backs against a team that's, giving up 33.5, you got to think that those guys are each going to get their points. So I'm just going with the cheaper one there. New Mexico State and Minnesota. Ibrahim is kind of the stud of the whole slate. Coming off an injury, you have to worry if they're going to kind of limit him. I feel like he has a super safe floor to get 20 points. But even if he gets 20 points at 9,500, is that really a home run? So I have him as a guy that could go off. You know, he could be the guy that goes for 225 and 4 touchdowns tomorrow. But you also have to ask yourself, like, is Minnesota going to call off the horses quickly? Do they put in Potts? Do they ease back Ibrahim? These are all questions you got to ask. I don't think they have any obvious plays at receiver, but they do have some dudes with some high upside. And when you're scoring 44.5 points, some of those receivers are going to get theirs, brother. All right. ASU, I think, is a super sneaky one that is not going to get as much love as other people. And the one thing I can say about Arizona State is we know that Emory Jones, their quarterback, and Valladay, their running back, are going to be workhorses, right? Because if you don't know, Arizona State lost like half their team. They got a pretty toxic environment around there. So those two guys seem in line at very fair prices to get a heavy workload. 38 is kind of a low total, but, you know, if 38 points is fine as long as we know that it's going to be concentrated on a couple guys. If you want to try to figure out the ASU wide receiver situation, you go ahead. I'm just going to play the punt Sanders just because he's 3,300. If he catches 1 touchdown, he's a smash. And then lastly, Cal Poly. Every one of these schools just has like the random $4,000 receiver, don't they? That could, you know, that's probably like they're most likely to run it back. Fresno, you know, Hainer averages over 300 yards passing per game. Cropper is going to get his points. He's like an auto, you know, just put him in for 20 points. Very safe cash play. I think Mims is a very safe cash play also. Only thing you have to worry about is if one of those guys goes ham, maybe the other one doesn't quite get, you know, you want to get at least 3x in your cash lineups, right? So you'd be looking for Mims to get up near about 24. So that's what it is. I encourage you to do this, guys. This is how you need to play. If you need to find the games you like and you need to attack those games. And I like my entire lineups to almost consist of only players from 2 teams, right? I stack a game and then I do a little mini stack from another game, right? So let's say I want to stack Sanders, Richardson, and Presley and run it back with Nichols and Dixon over here. Well, then I'll go do a little another little one over here where I do Lewis and Washington or something like that, right? So I have 2 games that are correlated, and if those games go off and I pick those right games, at least I'm putting my players in position to be the ones that are most likely to get the best scores. That's all you can really do at GPPs, in my opinion, especially at college football. I am going to definitely play some cash game tomorrow. You can see the guys on there in green. The dark green are who I say have very safe floors. You know, you're going to just have to mix and match and make the best possible lineup. You definitely want to have 2 quarterbacks on there. And I would say for the GPPs, attack games and hope you catch the game that blows up. That's what you want to do. If you want to know about my ownership, I'll have all my ownership and a VIP video up over on my Discord tomorrow. To get on the Discord, just go check out the Patreon. It'll be in the description of this. Saturday, it is looking like I am probably going to do the Oregon-Georgia game for the live Saturday sweat. So come check that out. It will be fun. We talk shit. We drink alcohol. And we watch football. That's what we do. It's a little community. So come check it out if you want to. Tell a buddy. I'd appreciate it. I think that's it for tonight, you motherfather. I will be back on Friday for the live stream. So be here for that. I would appreciate it. Don't forget about the drawing. I hope you enjoy my outro, you motherfather.